that could rebut. When hard facts continues right about now, and like I advertised earlier, it's time for us to look at the entertainment sector more particularly the focus is on River State. Now, according to statistics, Nigeria's entertainment and media was valued in 2023, that's last year, sometime around this November-December period last year, at 1.4 billion US dollars. Yes, you heard me right. 1.4 billion US dollars. So think about the music sector, the film sector, even sometimes tourism you could add. Think about all of that, the contents on social media, all of the comedy and entertainment skits that we see on social media, all of it was valued at 1.4 billion US dollars. Now, it is projected, according to statistics, so people who collect data, that by 2027, which is almost we're almost in 2025, so I can dare say in 2 years' time, will be valued at 13.89 billion US dollars. Now, imagine that being pumped into the economy of Nigeria as it is right now, how it will help. It's even way above the budget for the year 2025. Imagine how it will help in ensuring that Nigeria achieves the development that she has as a goal. And that's why I want to focus on how River State, with all of its potentials, can also buy into this market, into this 13.89 billion US dollars is projected for 2027. Now, if we look at our neighbor in the Niger Delta, I'm talking about Cross River, before now we would see them and their Calabar carnival every now and then. According to what I read online, that carnival employs about 40,000 people. About 50,000 people are believed to be in attendance every year, and you can imagine what it brings as economic contribution to Cross River every December. Now, not too long ago, we celebrated Christmas about 2 days ago, and people were up and about, and there was the talk about not so much happening in River State. And then I'm thinking in my head, what could we have done? What could we have put in place to nurse, the potentials once again, and not just for December, going forward? What are the things that we could put in place? Yes, sometime in April, the governor came out and said there was a 100% boost in internally generated revenue. He talked about 27 billion during peak periods. But can we also use entertainment? There is the mantra, rivers first. Can we then unearth, usually when we have these talents emerge, they run to Lagos, because Lagos is the one eating the lion's share when it comes to the entertainment sector. And so to help me have this conversation, I have invited into the studio today a graduate of film studies from the University of Port Harcourt. He has a bachelor's, a master's, and a PhD. Is into film criticism, media studies, and popular culture. He is a lecturer of what's it called now? Department of Theatre and Film Studies, Rivers State University. I mean, he said I should tell you he's a pioneer lecturer. I'm talking about Dr. Ibe O. Ibe. Dr. Ibe, it's good to see you, and I mean, you've got a lovely smile, I should say. Welcome on the show.
Thank you so much, Kalada.
Okay, so you had my introductions, and when you look at River State, do you think we've got the potential, artistic potential, to help influence the economy?
Well, thank you so much, Kalada, for the question. Compliments of the season to Nigeria Info Global listeners.
All right.
Well, there is no gainsaying the fact that Port Harcourt is rich in talents, in artistic talents. And we have proven it in every sector of The entertainment industry,
How do you
from
mean?
music, from the movies to music to even artists generally, painters, sculptors, and all of that. Port Harcourt has always played a pivotal role in the Nigerian entertainment industry. If you want to look at the music industry, Port Harcourt continues to shape this industry with the likes of Timaya.
Okay.
Yes, that emerged from Port Harcourt, though from Bayelsa State, but he emerged as a musician.
He had his roots in Port Harcourt, yeah.
From Port Harcourt. And our own brother, who happens to come from, I think, about the local government where I'm from too, one of the A-list artists in Nigeria, Burna Boy.
Okay.
Yes, these and several others, even our very Port Harcourt's own first son, Port Harcourt, Duncan Mighty. So we have all of this. So we have the talent. And the question about whether it is talent that is an issue in why the Port Harcourt entertainment industry is not fully harnessed when compared to Lagos, just as you've stated. I think that question is very open already for everyone to see that we have the talent. So the question is not about talent.
Then what's the question? The question is about what then?
Well, maybe as we progress, we'll find out more. But I think to pin it down immediately, the question more is about sponsorship. That is one key challenge that has bedeviled the Port Harcourt entertainment industry. If you interview any artist in Port Harcourt from this Port Harcourt axis, they will always tell you that they practically do everything on their own. If, let's say as a comedian or as a musician, if you want to host your show, the environment is very unfriendly for you.
When you say unfriendly, now I was going to go there because when you say sponsorship, I was wondering, is this sponsorship or is it the unfriendly environment? Because growing up, if you remember our days, there was the cultural center where there used to be plays, people would go there and act, and stage plays showcasing our culture and traditions. And then we used to have carol seasons, December periods like this. There was Canny Reeve, but it looks like the unfriendly environment is taking away all of those things.
Yes, you're very correct. And, when it comes to Rivers State, and especially this part of Nigeria, the focus and emphasis is so much on oil and gas and on politics. So anything that does not dwell on this is usually played down upon because of how vibrant we are in the Nigerian polity as a state. So anything that does not concern oil, money, it seems as if you're just wasting your investment. So investors, even in Rivers State here, let me put it just in colloquial, big men from this axis usually don't find it profitable, if I may say, to invest in the entertainment sector. And they forget that just like when you plant, you must water your plant, you must be patient. So the entertainment industry usually requires this progressive approach. So already, just as you mentioned too, the Canny Reeve was there. There was this time where the atmosphere, the entertainment ecosystem in Rivers State was much more vibrant than we have today. Yes, with Canny Reeve, with several talent hunt shows and all of that. But today, what is happening? The emphasis is no more on, I think, nurturing entertainment. Maybe, I don't know, maybe politics per se, but I can categorically say that if it's about the blueprint has already been established by previous administrations, just as you mentioned, like former Governor Chibike Rotimi Amechi. He really set up this blueprint for the entertainment industry in Port Harcourt. And current administration of our governor, Governor Sim Fubara, can just blaze that pathway already set.
All right.
The previous
now,
administration.
you are a lecturer. Do we still have people very much interested in theater and film studies? Now, I remember growing up, we watched the likes of Sam Dede, Hilda Dokobor. There was this other person, Jack. I'm trying to remember the names now. And they were all from this state, but it looks like we're not having as much names when we talk Nollywood, by the way, is the second biggest movie industry in the world. So is it that River State is really an unfriendly place, or we're just not interested in a nursing? I mean, what are your thoughts as it relates to that?
Well, just as you rightly mentioned, but let me take this question from a practical perspective. Entertainment or the players are still very much available in River State. The critical stakeholders in the entertainment industry are still there. The skill, the artists are still there. For instance, when you introduced me as a lecturer in the Department of Theatre and Film Studies in the River State University, I know many people will be confused at that, especially those who retired from there long ago. Will be like, do they not have Theatre and Film Studies department in the university? So in 2019, the former governor, now the FCT minister, Governor Nyesom Wike, thought it wise to expand the university by bringing other faculties like humanities, social sciences, medicine, and several others. And so we came in, and since we came into the university, practically speaking, the university has now felt the impact of arts. In fact, there is almost no event hosted by other faculties in the River State University that my department does not provide entertainment. And these entertainments that we provide, they are not free per se. So we are even turning lucrative as a department.
I'm happy you brought this example, but why are we not seeing this reflective in the state? Because we hear that the university system is supposed to bring solutions to socioeconomic problems, right? And so if since 2019 you mentioned, right, that department has been existing at the River State University, and of course you attended the one in Unipol, which has been there since God knows when. If we put both together institutions, why have we not seen this reflect in our society?
It has always reflected, because the likes of Sam Dede, Dr. Sam Dede that you mentioned, my senior colleague and lecturer, the likes of Hilda Dokubo, and several others, even those who are now in Lagos, all came out from what we call the CRAB, that is the theatre department at the University of Port Harcourt. And so in terms of producing these talents, yes, the universities have always played a major role. And we too, even as a young department, we are already producing talents. I don't want to mention names, but there are some key players in this Port Harcourt entertainment industry that have either graduated from our department or are still
in your department.
Yes.
All right, we'll go for a quick commercial. When we come back, we'll talk about the economic part, how we can then see some economic value, because now we've been told we've got talent and abundance when it comes to arts, not just music or movies, but even sculpting and the likes. But when we do come back, please do stay tuned.
Info. This is Hard Facts.
All right, it's the bottom of the hour. Yes, you're still listening to Hard Facts and 92.3 Nigeria Info Live on Facebook, Live on YouTube. Nigeria Info PH is the handle, and we are active on the X. Nigeria Info PH. I am Kaladako Rubatibo. It's a pleasure having you. And with me in the studio is a pioneer lecturer, Department of Theatre and Film Studies, River State University. I'm talking about Dr. Ibe O. Ibe. It's good to have you in the studio once again.
Thank you.
All right, so we've been talking about harnessing the entertainment sector in River State, and of course we gave you statistics for the sector at the national level, and we told you that it is projected that by 2027 that industry will be valued at $13.89 billion US. Now, the question is, how can we get a large share from that projected amount? And that's the conversation we're having. And before now, the doc in the house was telling us that, see, we have an unfriendly ecosystem when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to artistry in the state. And he also mentioned that the so-called big men in our society have refused to invest. But let's now look, apart from sponsorship, unfriendly environment, so to say, Dr. Ibe, do we have the infrastructure? Can we say, there's a theater where stage plays can happen, so we can enjoy stage plays, or, there is a hall that can contain as much when it comes to a music concert? Do we have these infrastructures when we look at River State?
Well, although there's always room for improvement, but kudos to the Governor Sim Fubara. The theater that we have in Port Harcourt at the township where we call Port Harcourt Town.
Yeah.
Yes, that theater, because of it was not that much in use. So I think the governor went there. I saw it on news, I think on your station and some others, last month or so, where he said he was going to revamp that particular theater. So outside of that one, there are other theaters too, and there are also private practitioners who are still making the theater industry to thrive. I know a couple of them who host theater performances almost on a monthly basis in Port Harcourt. Some of them just go get event centers in GRA and other locations and advertise and expect to make profit from the gates.
But do you think we can have a movie village, for instance, where, given the fact that Lagos is very concentrated and, on nature as well, I think there's another place in the southeast where movies are really, produced. Do you think we could also have such movie villages, where we can see some of these movie producers bring their market and whatever it is that they have to the state?
Of course, we can. And that is why that's why I said initially that the government has a very key role to play in harnessing the entertainment industry in River State. And by so doing, just as you've said, the right policy can be put in place, including the infrastructure. Building a film village, for instance, won't take much.
Really?
But yes, it may not take much compared to the amount that we hear being allocated to several projects that have been commissioned. Okay. So building a film village may not even take up to amount of 2 flyovers. Let's just put it that way. So the government has a major role to play.
When you say government has a major role, what would you have His Excellency do as it relates to the entertainment sector? Do we, before we even get to what the governor, there's something I just, do we even in River State take entertainment seriously? Because it looks like religion, tradition, these are some factors that, inhibit entertainment in River State. What do you say about that?
Yes, I totally agree with you. River State is a state with diverse heritage.
Okay.
And that plays down on every other thing that does not really concern what we call the core of the Rivers mindset. But however, we cannot gainsay the fact that arts, culture and entertainment are a vital tool in promoting a stronger social fabric and enhancing the social health of a state.
Okay.
So engaging in these will serve to strengthen social bonds in important ways and will forge connections that may not have existed before.
Okay, so if you argue like this, what would you say to a man of God? Because we all are very religious once again. Who says, "Oh, why would you have cannery in River State? It's unholy, it is unrighteous, and God will be angry with River State." What would you say to such arguments?
Well, we are all religious in one way or the other. I don't want to join issues with, just as you've said, any man of God, but even if we want to take it biblical or religious, Jesus himself, from one or two examples that we have in the Bible, even when he met certain forces, Jesus was not always concerned about the physical appearance of the things he saw, but rather the spirit behind whatever he saw. So that was why Jesus was always rebuking the spirit.
And not the physical.
Yes, behind, because when he sees something, he knows the spirit behind it. So most of these things, they may just be physical. For instance, you just see somebody hustling, let me put it that way, and then carry a mask on his face and then moves on the road looking for motorists to just be giving him money. So that may not necessarily mean that there is a spirit
but you're
behind
you're an artist in all ramification, and you know that if you've done black literature, the one wearing the mask or the masquerade is not just wearing the masquerade. That there is the spiritual. I mean, if you've read African literature, you would agree with what I'm arguing.
Well, I understand what you're saying. There is this sacred. You are arguing that there may be sacred aspect,
yes, of course,
to entertainment, but that's not always the case. That somebody is dressed in costume. Just for instance, I'll give you a practical example. In the theater, we used to have what we call induction of students, and you might, in one way or the other, have seen pictures from several universities across Nigeria.
I took a course in theater art, so I TH 1 to 5.
Yes, where most students are usually made to appear in white, something we can describe as marine-like or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
So usually people will come and say, "Oh, how will people be inducted in this outlook?" And I tell people that this one necessarily does not have any sacred
or spiritual meaning.
Yes, meaning to it. It's just the origin of the theater. That the theater originated from sacred procession. And so most times we use that sacred aspect of the origin of theater to induct students into that field. So generally, that carnival, for instance, I remember then, one aspect of it is this religious aspect that you can't bring masquerades and then you expect the state to prosper. But the question is, those masquerades you're seeing, is there a spirit behind it, or it's just people carrying masks for entertainment purposes and for the promotion of our culture? That is one. And then, secondly, again, people may always say, why waste money on all of this? But however, it is very important. We cannot downplay that part, because promoting tourism is a key strategy for fostering indigenous craft development, driving economic growth, and alleviating poverty. So even the Carnival Calabar that is currently holding, I know that today is about the Africa Street Party, the biggest street party in Africa. So I've attended that carnival a couple of times. And I know that even today, there are so many artists from Port Harcourt that I know
that will be performing there, that
are either performing or are adjudicators or are in one way or the other taking part in that carnival. And by the time they will come back with hundreds of thousands of naira, and they will come and spend that money here. So it is a way of empowering people. Even when Carnival in the strong days of Carnival here in Port Harcourt, artists were always happy and looking up to Carnival every December, the weeks before Christmas, because it was a major form of empowerment for these artists. In fact, most artists would even told me that. I have several friends who took part, even I myself. I remember I took part in Carnival by building what we call the carnival floats. The floats, the design on the trailers and all of that. So it was a major form of empowerment, and many of us made our first millions from the Canny Reef.
Now I want to be part of Canny Reef. Let's look at this now. You've just talked about promoting tourism and all of that, which is a good one. But how can, because we've got the Ministry of Tourism, right? We've got the Ministry of Culture, Arts and Tourism. So how can that ministry, how can the governor, you've said the government has key roles to play, but what roles are those? Can you, be specific? I know earlier on the show you said there are blueprints by previous governors. You talked about Chibuike Amechi, you talked about Nyesom Wike, but really, what are the blueprints and what can be added so that, because we've got a really large bunch of talent, artistic. After a while, you see them go to Lagos, Omale, Burna Boy, Timaya. The list is endless. So what can? So what are the things the government can do? Because these people could have been paying taxes to the River State government.
Yes, just like I said before, the blueprint in River State, I think, is not much of the issue, although it can always be remodeled to suit current emerging industry trends.
Okay.
But for instance, in River State here, we have what we call the River State Tourism Development Agency. And
has it been effective?
Yes, it has been effective. And that agency, I think, was solely responsible for the Canny Reef at that time. And it's still effective till today. And I know the director, Ubokoko.
Okay.
And currently, as you can see, if you've gone round Port Harcourt during this festive season, he has put up some what we call float designs of Christmas decorations around the GRA, those axes leading towards Aba Road. And he has done also light up of those where the governor even came. And I'm sure that he is doing those things because he himself, he is someone who is passionate about arts and culture in this state. With his dance, the circuit dance that has gone global.
Yeah, it has.
Yes. So he is someone who is passionate about arts and culture in River State, and he is really doing his own part. I'm very sure, although I've not heard from him, but I'm sure that those decorations that people go to around GRA, presidential,
to take pictures,
and all of that, I'm sure that those might have been his own personal contribution to the state. And even yesterday, just the Boxing Day here, when I was passing, I think the GRA part of that decoration, I saw a DJ mounted there with very loud music, just playing music to entertain just passers-by. So that is how much we are yearning for entertainment in River State.
All right. Let's go to the phone lines now. You're a Rivers person. You can hear my voice. You're somewhere in Rivers State or probably listening from outside Rivers State, but you're still very much interested in Rivers State. Do you think Rivers State can, begin to eat as much from the, the large amount of money generated from entertainment, we see Lagos with the likes of Whiskey, Davido, and the likes. Can we begin to compete? We always talk about infrastructural development. We always talk about how we want to build the educational sector, the health sector, and all of those sectors. But could we also look at the entertainment sectors as a sector that can generate revenue and maybe even double or triple, or even go as much as 10 times what we earn internally, currently at 27 billion. But if we are eating a large chunk of the about $14 billion, that will mean that we will be, maybe earning in hundreds of billions in terms of revenue. What are your thoughts? I'd like to hear from you. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, and 0817-923-0007. And there is the religious aspect of the conversation. Talking about Canny Reef, talking about, the gyrations that happen at beach parties, talking about all of those things. We used to have Carol nights at some point as well. do you think, with how much religiosity had played in Rivers State? I remember the past governor saying we are a Christian state. Do you see some of these activities coming back? Because, when they come, the money spreads, buying, selling, hospitality business also is thriving and all of that stuff. But let's go to the phone lines now. I'm starting with this call 92.3 Nigerian for your name, your location, your contribution. Anybody home? Hello? All right, let's go here. 92.3 Nigerian for your name, your location, your contribution.
All
right, Eldawayan, welcome.
Yes, like what you have been saying, previous administrations organized canaries, powerful one, and to make people to be happy and generate from to the reverse people. Not just good side traders and all of that. I think that's supposed to be an annual event. I don't know why it is dying down these days. Like when a nation or the league, I don't know who organized that wonderful one that attracted people all over the country. I think they're supposed to be doing those things because they say, where is the variety?
Oh, no, why are you there?
I'm there now.
All right.
Everything.
I can hear you.
Supposed to be. We are not going to do infrastructure or civil servant. Those things supposed to be there too.
All right.
So that people may feel somehow.
All right.
Somehow.
All right.
As if they belong to that thing.
All right then. All right. Thank you very much. I've got McDonald. McDonald is calling me from Port Harcourt. McDonald, welcome. What is on your mind? I'd like to hear from you. McDonald, talk to me.
Thank you, Mr. Batubo,
Yeah.
and your guest. Greetings to your guest.
All right then.
Compliment of the season.
All right then.
Yes, Mr. Batubo. I was a witness of the first carnival in River State. That was in 1988, when Honorable P.O. Graham Douglas was the Commissioner for Sports and Tourism. And it was beautiful to behold. And there is no doubt whatsoever about the potential of this state in terms of tourism. In the 80s, we used to go to cultural centers to watch a play there, weekends. And all those died off. Luckily, the last administration, the governor of the administration of Rotimi, they put up that structure at that position. But it was about to rot because of this bad policies in place. In terms of infrastructure, I think we have what to start. And I'm so happy that the governor has visited that place and said it's going to be revived. We can't wait. River State has no potential for tourism.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Quickly, Dr. Ibe. Yeah. Sometimes when we talk River State, I'll go to the phone lines in a bit. But when we talk River State, usually we think Port Harcourt, Obiakpo. What are the potentials, the artistic potentials, the entertainment potentials of the other local governments? I'm talking about the other 21 local governments. Do they have these potentials, or is it just the center as it is our custom in governance in Nigeria?
Well, not necessarily, if you ask me, because if we take the example again that we're following, the example of the Kani Reef, just as the last caller has said, that since 1988, the Kani Reef started in that year and then was rebranded by Governor Rotimi Amechi. Now, even in that Kani Reef, several local governments take part. In fact, all local governments usually have their floats, usually have the points where they participate. And that carnival used to combine two carnivals in one, which is like a cultural carnival and then this other Caribbean-styled carnival. So with other performances coming. So the local governments were always carried along. Then it was even in a way that you have the chairman and the wife sit on their own local government float and join the parade alongside the other dancers and the carnival queen and the carnival king. So it was a statewide carnival. So sorry, I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned something. So you're saying, apart from Kani Reef now, the individual local governments can
decide to display culture and tourism, and it will sell. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly, because currently now, even in this year in particular, I think it's as if there is a reawakening.
Okay.
For most of these things that were not there anymore, or that have not been there in Rivers State for some time. For instance, even just yesterday, I saw in Ahoda East, where the road that they had Ahoda East Carnival, where it ended a political gathering, though, where the chief of staff distributed some millions to some political loyalists. So even in other local government, even as I speak today, I have a friend who is on his way to another local government where they are having their carnival. That one is more elaborate, where they are building floats too, designing smaller floats and all of that. So everywhere in River State, although maybe because of the economic situation, because generally, even taking away carnivals, generally during festive seasons like this, we usually have even streets decorated. People decorate their streets with lights and then end up having street carnivals, street parties. But this year, I know I've moved around Port Harcourt in particular, and I'm not sure I've seen up to 2 streets that are really decorated with lights and all of that.
Let's listen to Williams now calling from Port Harcourt. Williams, welcome. What is on your mind quickly?
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
My name is Williams.
I know already. So quickly, let's get your thoughts.
According to the question, and River State if I use to run for enjoyment from entertainment industry, the answer is yes. If we can create very good entertainment, good and sustainable entertainment,
Williams, I'm struggling to hear you. I'm really sorry. I've got to let you go. I'm struggling to hear what you're saying. But let's come here. This one says, good afternoon, Canada. It is so worrisome that upon the array of big names mentioned as River State sons and daughters in the movie industry in Nigeria, there hasn't been a movie by these individuals saddled with the social activities of River State and its people. So what is Dr. AK doing to co-opt these individuals to act movies reflecting River State and the outside world? Kelvin Iobu Frank is asking. This one says, KDB and my senior colleague, I'm also a Crabite from U 2009 set. I and Wakonzi made the African Eat song I Celebrate in 2009 from Port Harcourt. Yeah, we had no choice but to do everything all by ourselves, and I mean everything. Well, we thank God for creativity. Prophet Sumiye. All right, your final words. Time is up, but I mean, what do you think is the way forward?
Well, thank you so much. The way forward, I think, to develop the entertainment sector in River State, for me, I think we should place the focus on strengthening the value chain. And one area of opportunity is talent development.
Okay.
We must push ourselves towards developing and training these talents that we will find within River State. Once we find more talents, we would be able to have a viable entertainment sector. Yes, that is one. And then also government funding is required. Government should now, I think, this 2025 that we are entering in a couple of days, the government should look into bringing back some of these entertainment activities. It may not necessarily be Canny Reef. Even if the government is not interested in having masquerades dance around the streets, you can, for instance, have an entertainment village where this Christmas now, if you go around the parks, if you go around Pleasure Park, Patago Pleasure Park, if you go around your other neighboring park around it, you will discover that these parks are filled with people. So in other words, people are yearning for something, for this leisure. People are yearning for something that will entertain them. So if there is that space called Christmas Village, where daily several activities will be done there, you will have people entertained from it.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Ibe. I've got to go, but thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure having a chat with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Do stay tuned.
Nigeria Info.